I am Charlotte Thomas, and currently my style of art isn't really fixed. It's floating all over the place. Studying fine art first year, and it's going pretty good.
Nice.
I got into art basically as a coping mechanism for stuff. That's when I realised that I wanted to pursue it, at least. Just because there's so much that you can't really say to people, but you can express visually or in some other art form. I always stick to blacks, whites and reds for some reason, and then blues. I don't know, I quite like monochrome. Once your art is out into the world, it's not really yours to judge anymore. It's whatever the world makes of it. My latest body of work is My Body as a Crack Den. I quite like the sort of comical, satirical side of art rather than taking everything really seriously and, you know, like traditional. I'm not about that. People can take from my piece what they want to take from it, and when I do finally get the chance to sort of explore more like the ethical route and how far, you know, how far I can really push things without them being, I don't know, too bad, because at the end of the day I am still a student, you know, I can't just do all of what I want. Something that I'm really interested in is like the tension between the person who's viewing the piece and the piece itself. That's the sort of an emotion that I like to evoke in people a little bit.
Can you like focus for hours, or are you someone who comes back to things?
I can do both. I mean, it depends on the piece that I'm working on, really. If I'm really intent on capturing a real specific idea or image or, you know, representation of something, then I can sit there for hours and do it. But other days I'll come in and I'll just want to do loads and loads of small, quick, you know, pieces. I feel like sometimes you can put way too much thought into an art piece and sort of set yourself up for failure because you're not letting the material or the mood that you're in or whatever shape the piece. You're too focused on trying to construct something. My family have always been like supportive of art. You know, you start drawing like with crayons and stuff as a kid, and then, you know, you get pencils and pens, and it keeps on evolving. But no, I think I realised art was what I wanted to do when my mum fell ill, and I couldn't really focus on any other academic type thing because it doesn't allow for much expression. I mean, that can be debated, you know, but when I found out that all I could really do in that state was my art, I was like, clearly it's something I have to pursue, you know. I do find that the books that I read and stuff do make their way into my art somehow. Musicians have influenced my art a lot, but I think more, I'm only sort of coming to realise that now. For one of the experimentation tasks we did for this sort of unit, we were asked to listen to a piece of music, turn that piece of music into a piece of text, and then turn that piece of text into a sculpture or physical object. And since that task, like being made to think in that sort of way about music, it's, yeah, I'm getting a lot of ideas musically. I always find myself wearing the colours that I'm painting in without realising, which I find quite funny. Yeah, especially when it comes to the colours of the clothes that I buy and the colours of the clothes that I like. They either end up in my paintings or they end up in my clothes, vice versa.
Yeah.
I've developed a bit of an interest in like performance art. There's a guy called Chris Burden. He's a performance artist. As well as, I mean, in his later years, he sort of went more into sculptural and like installation pieces, but he was known very much for sort of finding that fine line between art and ethics and sort of really pushing those boundaries and expectations. Like for one of his pieces, he was in a locker for 5 days straight. He crammed himself into a locker for 5 days. And that was the piece. I just want to keep learning as long as I can. Honestly.
What's the main goal? What's the dream job?
Artist, full-time artist. That is the dream goal. But you know, if I get there, that is the question.